In my earlier videos on this very topic, that is Kaliyuga and Judaism, I have clearly narrated that there exists a fundamental difference between the Sanatan Dharma and its ideology and the Judaic ideology. I have clearly stated that the Judaic ideology actually originates from a materialistic ideology or from a materialistic standpoint. I have clearly stated that Mahabharata war was actually a fallout between the conflict of these two ideologies. I have also stated that after the Mahabharata war, Shri Krishna and Sahadeva actually took the onus upon themselves to evict the materialistic ideologies from the ancient India. In this video, I am going to explain all these things in detail. Stay tuned and watch. Battle of Kurushetra symbolized the defeat of the materialistic ideologies and the materialists and their ringleader Shakuni, a great gambler and a deceitful person. Shakuni was the main instigator or key instigator of this war, that is the Kurushetra war, and it turned out to be a massive humanitarian disaster in the ancient India. Even after this defeat, materialists retained their strongholds in pockets of resistance all over India. One such pocket of resistance or stronghold was the kingdom of Shalva, Shalva or Shalwa, not to be confused with the King Shalya of Madra, not to be confused with the king of Madra, that is Shalya. Capital city of Shalva dynasty or Shalva kingdom was Shova. During Mahabharata time, King of Shalva was first defeated by Devabrat, that is Bhishma, when he tried to invade the land of Kuru. Then again, he was defeated by Bhishma in the aftermath of the Swayamvar of Amba, Ambika and Ambalika, the three daughters of the king of Kashi. And in fact, Amba fell in love with the king of Shalva. His son, again Ashalva, attacked Dwarka in absence of Shri Krishna when he was actually attending the Rajsuya Yagya at Indraprastha organized by Yudhishthira. And this person called Shalva used aerial warfare against Shri Krishna and Dwarka as per Srimad Bhagavata Puran. And finally, he was defeated by Shri Krishna. I am going to discuss all these things in forthcoming videos. Another stronghold of these materialists was the kingdom of Gandhar. In the aftermath of the Kurukshetra war, Sahadeva actually attacked this Gandhar and there was a war, and finally these people were evicted and expelled from the ancient land of India. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa in Sindh province of modern-day Pakistan was another such stronghold. It was a stronghold of the materialists, and these people actually refused to leave the ancient India. Hence there was a war as Shri Krishna and Sahadeva challenged them. As per my research, weapon of mass destruction was used in this war which destroyed these Janpads. I completely and summarily reject the Aryan invasion theory in this regard. Let us now find out the pockets of stronghold that existed in the ancient India, the pockets of stronghold of these materialists that existed in ancient India. Pockets of resistance in Uttar Pradesh, in Kosala area, in Haryana. The place called Kapisthala was one such stronghold. This place is known as Kaital today. In Himachal Pradesh, Brahman and the Parvati Valley region. In Afghanistan, Kabul, Ghazni, Kandahar and Reg. In Rajasthan, Pushkar region. In Gujarat, Varuch or Rigukach. The ancient name of Varuch was Rigukach, and Rigukach was a place which was infested with these people from the Vargava lineage. And in my earlier video, I have clearly stated that the descendants of Bhrigu, that is the Vargava people, actually started this materialistic movement in ancient India. In Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra, pockets of resistance in Avantika and Amaravati, pockets of strongholds in Magadha and Angadesha, pockets of strongholds in Bangladesh, that is Bengal, present-day Bengal, in Navadvip and Brahmadesh, that is Burma, pockets of strongholds in Pragjyotishpur, that is today's Assam. Let me tell you that at the time of Mahabharata, that is at the time of Kurukshetra war, Pragjyotishpura was actually ruled by a king called Bhagadatta. He was an extremely formidable warrior, a very strong man, and he had an army comprising of 10,000 elephants. This Bhagadatta, the king of Pragjotishpur, actually fought alongside the Kauravas. And in fact, Bhagadatta was a close aide of Duryodhana. And in fact, Bhagadatta used to practice Gadayudh alongside Duryodhana. Significant resistance across the entire Western Ghat mountain range, places such as Madikeri, Coorg, Ooty, all along India's western coast, in Maharashtra, in Goa, in Udupi Mangalore belt, that is all along the Indian Konkan coastline, in Kerala, along Malabar coastline, and also in Munnar. Pockets of strongholds existed in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Let me tell you that the Western Ghat mountain range is an extremely resource-rich area, both in terms of mineral resources and in terms of natural resources such as timber, honey, spices, several different kinds of herbal medicines or medicinal herbs for that matter, silk, etc., etc. And the trader community within this materialists, they used to trade with the West Asia, with Europe from the ancient time via the Silk route or through the Arabian Sea route on these particular items. And they used to actually deprive the common people of these places. And they had a tendency, these materialists actually developed a tendency to actually keep the wealth accumulated within their own community or within their own secret clan. This is the nature of the materialistic ideology. The very nature of this materialistic ideology was actually practiced in the ancient India. The movement was actually started by the Bhargava lineage, or the people from the Bhargava lineage in the ancient India. In this section, I have shown the strongholds of these materialists in the ancient India. In the aftermath of the Kurushetra war, Shri Krishna and Sahadeva, that is the youngest among the 5 Pandava brothers, launched a military campaign to evict and expel these people from the ancient land of India. Shri Krishna was an astute politician and a visionary. He could foresee that these people would oppress and subjugate the people of India in the coming Kaliyuga, and hence he tried to weaken these people, these materialists, before the advent of the Kaliyuga, so that the people of India actually end up suffering less. Let's take a closer look at the Khazar region. Khazar is extremely significant from the historical context of the current Kaliyuga. After being expelled and evicted from ancient land of India, materialists came to Khazar during their exile. Today, Khazar falls mostly in a country called Georgia. Georgia has borders with Russian Federation on north and Turkey, Armenia and Azerbaijan on south. However, Khazar was extended between Black Sea on west and Caspian Sea on east, north of Caucasus mountain range, that is Georgian Caucasus mountain range, and south of Volgograd region of present-day Russia. So this basically is the geographical location of Khazar. Khazars continued to uphold their materialistic ideologies even after their expulsion, and continued to practice the esoteric religious worship, that is Tantra, and occultism for their own materialistic gain. There is nothing wrong in Tantra, but the way they use Tantra for their own materialistic benefit, for their own selfish interest, that is really the problematic aspect. They were polytheistic in nature, however. From the onset, Khazars had religious knowledge, military skills, scientific knowledge, and vast wealth. Once they settled down over there in Khazar, they quickly formed strong military by drafting in Turkic nomadic horsemen from eastern Anatolia, that is eastern part of Turkey. Khazars, once they settled down, they started to push into the Russian mainland in Rostov-on-Don and Volgograd region, and thereby threatening the Rishikas, that is the ancestors of native Russians. So the native Russian people and the native people of the Eastern Europeans, that is the Slavic people or the Slavs, were actually descendants of this Rishikas, and Rishikas were Sanatan Dharma. So the Khazars, once they settled down and once they formed their military, they started to push into the Russian mainland. Ancient Russians or Rishikas followed Sanatan Dharma and they sought help from Shri Krishna, and once again Shri Krishna stopped the Khazars on their track. I'm going to discuss these things in my future videos. Roughly 4,000 years back, well into this current Kaliyuga, materialists from Khazar have spread into the pockets across Anatolia, that is Turkey, Mesopotamia, particularly in Babylonia or Babylon in present-day Iraq, in Assyria, that is present-day Syria, and in Canaan, that is Palestine and Lebanon. Well, I didn't take the name of Israel because that land belonged to the Canaanites, who are basically the ancestors of present-day Palestinians. I'm going to talk all these things in my forthcoming videos. It is here in Babylon they developed the idea to brand their materialistic ideology into a religion. This Babylon faction soon started this subversive agenda. It is this Babylonian faction who later entered Egypt and subverted the Egyptian politics, their religion, and their society. They later sneaked into the Egyptian royal lineage. This happened during the time of 18th dynasty of Egypt, and they then imposed their monotheistic religious brand on Egyptian people. Later, these people were actually expelled and evicted from Egypt itself, and they then reached a land called Canaan, where they actually started to subjugate and exploit and oppress the native people or ethnic people of Canaan, that is the Canaanites. And these Canaanites are actually the ancestors of present-day Palestinians. Thus, these Canaanites today are living in their own homeland as second-class citizens who are being oppressed and subjugated by these Jews, this Egyptian fraction of Jews. Khazars continued with their esoteric occultism till 750 CE, that is Christian era, in the Middle Ages, and finally took Judaism in between 700 to 800 AD in the Christian era. However, in between 100 to 700 AD in the Christian era, they did so, that is, they practiced this occultism, esoteric occultism, under the guise of polytheistic Tengrism and monotheistic shamanism. What these things are, I'm going to discuss this in later videos. In between 600 CE and 1000 CE in the Christian era, they formed their powerful empire, Khazar Khaganate. Finally, the Khazar Khaganate was destroyed by the Russian Slavic prince from Kiev called Vladimir. This happened around 1000 CE in the Christian era. Displaced Khazarian Jews migrated to Eastern Europe via Ukraine, and then from there these people migrated to Western and Northern Europe via Poland, Germany and Austria, and from there to England. These people are known as Ashkenazi Jews. I'm going to discuss all these things in detail in my forthcoming videos.